Hey everybody, this is your weekly Fix My List. This is one of our War Room content pieces. So if you're a War Room member, you can submit lists to Fix My List every single week. This week is going to be the Xenos one, but man, am I excited to fix some of these lists. We got some wild ones submitted this.
Crazy
frankly,
lists.
wild. And usually what we do is if the person who submits the list has a specific set of advice of what they're looking for, maybe they like a particular set of the units and they really want to build around that concept, or if they're just like, hey, this is the faction I play, here's what I have, what can I build towards, what's the best list I could go towards. So really, every list will be a little bit different based on the criteria we get. But 3 lists every single week if you're a War Room member, which is either on YouTube or on our own platform, thewarroom.vhx.tv. You can sign up there, and there's a 3-day free trial on our own platform for you to test it out. But you get access to our awesome Discord community, and in there you can submit your lists each week. So it's a cool feature. Check it out in the description below. But let's go ahead and dive right in here.
I know. All right. So the first list we have is a Ynnari list.
Is it now?
It's a Ynnari list.
Ynnari.
I love my Ynnari. We have Yvrain, obviously. We have the Yinkar, a Farseer on foot, a Death Jester, a Fixed Messenger. We have 2 Prisms, 3 Void Weavers, a Warwalker, 3 Ravagers, a D-Cannon, 5 Troops, 2x5 Mandrakes, 5 Shadow Specters, and 5 Orcs Spiders. So we have a lot of shooting and a lot of trash.
Yep.
Played mission. This is really similar to the Ynnari list that I played into you.
Yeah, it actually is. It was a Ynnari vs. Grey Knights game from maybe like a month ago, a month and a half.
Yeah.
But it was a very good back and forth game.
It was a great game, yeah. So what I'm going to try and do here is it seems like this person wants a mix of all 3 elf factions in Ynnari, so I'm going to try and preserve that. But I'm sorry, those troops, they just got to go.
They got to go.
They're not doing anything. I understand what they're here for. They're here because Yvrain needs a bodyguard, but she really doesn't. Her gun is okay. You put her in strat reserves, and she shows up, and she will just die.
Boom.
Yeah.
I'll leave that in case we need to come back to it. What else we got?
So the next thing I think I want to do is I want to take 5 of those points, and I want to make one of these units of Mandrakes.
So we're at 19,
25. I want to make it a unit of Hawks.
Take one of these Mandrakes and make it a unit of Hawks.
They do the same thing.
Swooping Hawks. And how many points are they?
It's 75.
75.
Okay. It's a 5-point upgrade that gives you 7 extra inches movement. And a better armor save.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. Well, no, we're cutting 70. Yeah,
we're not bringing a full unit back.
It should be 25. No, 30, yeah.
Yeah.
The question then becomes, to what extent do we want to, dramatically change this? Because I actually quite like this list. If I were running a Ynnari list, you can go find out my thoughts on Ynnari. Just go look at the that game we played.
Yep,
it's got a lot of the... I added a bunch of, Hornets and stuff, but I was honestly kind of underwhelmed by that. I really like the solo D-Cannon because it gives you a vector for shooting stuff, with your fate dice. That being said, I honestly want more,
stuff. What stands on objectives in this army?
Yeah, that's a good...
There's 5 Mandrakes.
There's 5 Mandrakes.
Orc Spiders.
You're putting, Ravagers and Void Weavers, but, I think a unit of... Honestly, I kind of want to get a unit of, Wraithguard in here. I want one big bully unit.
Yeah, something that can control the center of the table, because otherwise on good boards, on good terrain boards, you're not really getting the shooting angles unless you commit into the center, and that could be disastrous. You could get most of your army tied up in a single turn.
Yeah.
And this army has a ton of anti-tank, but is pretty, how do you beat 20 Necron Warriors with this army?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, 2 things I want Night Spinners and I want Wraithguard. So what if we cut both the 5 prisms and we just upgrade them to Night Spinners?
Okay,
so you get less raw damage, which you get more chip damage, and Night Spinners plus the Incarn is an awesome combo. They're 170.
Okay, and you also get that debuff, which is critical.
Which is huge, and it helps that Necro matchup we just talked about a lot.
So what is that debuff again?
It's -2 move, and you cannot advance.
Yeah, it's very, very
also
strong.
very good into Custodes.
So we just put ourselves up 40 points.
Yeah. So then let's go ahead and add 10 Wraithguard, and it's going to be 310.
310. So what are we cutting to?
Let's figure that out real quick. And then let me remind myself how many points a Spirit Seer is.
How do you feel about solo D-Cannon?
I like it a lot.
You like solar.
Because it gives us one thing that we're going to use fake dice on in the shooting phase.
Okay. I'll just delete this for now. So we got double spinner, upgraded the fire prisms.
Yeah.
We got 3. Do we need 3 void weavers?
I don't think so. So why don't we cut one of the void weavers right off the bat and just go ahead and... I want to add 10 Wraith Guard.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
So we got the 10 Wraith Guard. Is it one word or 2?
I think it's one word.
Okay, 310 you said?
310, yeah. And then why don't you just cut that Death Jester and then make him a Spirit Seer also with Fate's Messenger? Just to change the name Death Jester, yeah.
Okay.
And it's going to be 80 points.
Spirit Seer.
Yeah.
80 points.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you need to keep track of this at this
Yeah,
point.
I got that. I'm just going to do a quick tally on how many points we are right now.
We're still well over, I'd
We
say.
are definitely well over. Plus 270, plus 65, plus 80, plus 170, plus 170, plus 310, plus 100, plus 100, plus...
We probably need to cut some amount of, like, a Ravager.
Probably. We almost certainly will have to do that.
Because the problem fundamentally with the list that was submitted is that in a shootout, it's great, but when your opponent is using terrain and is hiding behind terrain on objectives, what does your army do? We saw this with Nick's All Dark Lance Drukhari army. Not quite as good as Eldar or Yunari, obviously, but still same principle. I'm just going to shoot you to death with efficient firepower. Okay, what if I just force you, if you want to shoot me, to be all the way in the center of the board and then I tie up all your stuff or kill enough of it? That's a fundamental issue with this army, in my opinion. So Wraithguard help a lot there. Now that's a huge bully unit in the center. Now I'm less incentivized to be there as well.
I wish I could say take Wraith Guard, but they're just so much worse.
Wraith Blades, you mean?
Wraith Blades, sorry, yeah. I love my Wraith Blades. I don't know why I can't do the math right now. So I'm just going to build this list so I can edit it faster. We're looking for a Ravager.
We got triple Ravager. We got 1 D cannon.
I want to leave the triple Ravagers, I think.
Okay. I mean, they are super cheap for what you get.
Yeah, they're just really good. They're the best of the like Eldar thing. They are kind of awkwardly big.
Do we want to get the Solitaire in here?
We can't.
Oh, you can't.
You can't take a Minionari. Otherwise, absolutely. We just played a game, and he was quite good.
Yeah, if you want to check it out by the point that you're watching this, there was a Harlequin, pure Harlequins list versus my kind of like the best of Necron stuff that you rarely see.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very interesting one. Solitaire was a beast in that.
Yeah, he was really good. See, the problem with building other lists is there's so many friggin' units in them.
It's a real problem.
I know,
it's
what
a real
shame.
problem of luxury. Should take at least 5 of these units, and no Eldar. You're bad. You've been bad this edition.
Okay, so we are 175 points over as it stands. Yes.
Okay.
So where are we gonna cut 175?
1 Night Spinner.
We could just do that. I like 2 though.
Fair.
We
gotta cut some of this mission play.
We gotta cut something. Why don't we cut the Hawks?
We can't cut Yvrine, right?
No, we cannot. She has to stay, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd cut her.
Yes.
She doesn't do anything. Let's cut the Hawks. And they have to cut 100. Let's cut another Void Weaver, I guess.
Okay. So now we're looking...
That's 2,000 on the nose.
Something closer to this.
Yeah.
Bring that D cannon up. So how do you feel about the amount of stuff here?
So
basically the mission play is the Mandrakes, which is great. Warp Spider is great. But
Inspector is great.
Inspector.
That's enough mission play, I find.
Okay, so 3 units of real
mission play.
And the Warwalker, basically.
Yeah, and the Warwalker. And then shooting
is the Warwalker worth it over... Oh, we're
at 3 Raptors already. Cool. This is 2,000.
Yeah.
And then it shoots really hard with a D cannon, and 1, 2, 3, that's 9, plus 2 is 11, plus 2 is... It's got 13 Bright Lance equivalents.
Yeah.
I like this list.
Anything else you would potentially change if you were designing yourself and not going for trying to have a mix of all of them?
I'd probably got the last Void Weaver. I don't love Void Weavers. I find that just like the prismatic being damage 4 is really awkward. And the Battle Shock a lot of times doesn't matter. I don't know. I just think I like the other ones better.
Yeah. What would you get instead of another Warwalker?
Probably another Warwalker.
Okay.
That's what I would do. I like Warwalkers just a lot better than Void Weavers.
Yeah. Ravagers are kind of filling the same role as the Void Weaver.
Yeah.
But so you're happy with this?
I'm happy with this. Yeah.
All right.
Like
this is a list you would bring to like tournament play with.
This list actually looks quite fun. I think I like this list better than I like the one I wrote earlier into you. I like the Wraith Guard a lot.
Yeah.
Because they add that like thing to be there.
Exactly. Certain matchups where they can just control the board and you're just pinned back.
And that was one thing I was really missing into your Grey Knights is that I had all these lances, but I could never leverage them. The Wraith Guard helped that a lot.
Exactly. Okay, so then this list for Amador. Hope you enjoy this one. Hope you're able to play it. So we just basically kept the same concept, but made it a bit more efficient and has some tech choices that are really good into the top of the meta.
Yep.
So you should have an excellent time, honestly, playing this at a tournament.
Yeah, this is a great list.
Okay. So next up, less great list. Okay, this is from...
Scroll over a little bit there we go. Cool.
So this is from Aaron Mascara with a Tau Kalyan list. And as you see, this is a lot of unseen units.
Yeah.
There's a couple that are seen. So we got a couple lone operatives and as many auxiliaries as you can possibly fit into here. So we got Shadow Sun, Onva, the Firesight team. Those guys are all lone ops. Good for Marker Light support, although you don't benefit from
Marker Light
anything really here.
So here's my thought on this list. If this is the list that Aaron wants to play, who are we to stop him? Is this list good? No, it's not.
Basically, the only thing we can do here... Tau is already an army towards the bottom end of the spectrum. They're an army that basically has one build that can punch up, and everything else struggles.
Yeah.
So they have one build, which is basically 6-man crisis unit, another 6-man crisis unit, Cold Star commanders, and then a lot of lone ops and mission play and everything around that. You could also play multiple 3-man crisis teams and one big 6-man. That's also done pretty solid. You could bring in broadsides, but that's kind of where they're at.
You know what I want? I think we should just add one crisis unit and a Cold Star.
No, I say we build a list without crisis. If you want to see Tau list with crisis suits, you can check out my Tau faction fundamental. Yeah. You could check out, a couple weeks ago we did a Tau focused list on Fix My List. So if you want to check out Tau lists, I also played against Nick's Drukari a couple weeks ago. There's plenty of like competitive Tau lists. Let's build one that has to take at least one of each auxiliary.
Okay.
All right. So we have all of them here. We don't have to take the max squads, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Can we make that 3x4 Crude Hounds?
Yeah, we're gonna change some things, but we're gonna run a lot of auxiliaries.
Yes.
And we're gonna try and build a list that has some damage that doesn't use crisis suits.
Okay. So what are you thinking for damage that doesn't use crisis suits?
Okay, first of all, Shapers are terrible.
They're so bad.
That's not a thing. They get deleted because they do nothing, and they're not worth 50 points.
They're 50 points?
50 points, because they don't want them being cheap again. All right, Crude Hounds are all going to go to 4, but I don't mind that. That is a solid unit. That's going to be 30 points each.
Why is Shadow Sun here?
They ran out of points of auxiliaries. They couldn't take anymore, so ended up taking those guys.
Okay.
We'll decide if we want to delete them. And
Are Crude battle line and Crude or not battle
Okay,
line?
we don't need more than one Farstalker unit, but we'll take one out of...
Oh, we're taking a max Farstalker?
Oh, yeah. We're going to do... We'll run 2 Vespid squads. You don't really need more than that. But 2 Vespid squads is definitely solid. And then Crutoxes, we're going to... They do nothing as a 3-man, so...
With 3 solos?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't even hate 3 solos.
Yeah.
They're just there.
35 points?
Mm-hmm.
Are they?
They are...
I forget what they are. I
35,
yeah, they're slightly more than Crude Hounds. They take up not much space on their small base size, but they do like nothing for damage. Yeah. Okay. No.
Are we adding 3... What about 3 10-mans?
We're not adding... Are they really 75 points?
75 points.
Okay, 1.
Yeah.
We do need to play a list.
Yeah, we have 1,200 points of real stuff after the characters.
Okay. So... Alright.
Wow.
Let's get these out of here. Somehow that's a lot of points. Okay, Vespid are actually solid. Like, this This is too much mission play,
But
frankly.
it's enough.
But you still have a lot of cheap stuff. Your screens are amazing.
Yeah.
So let's go with this for now, and we can always adjust. All right, first up, we need something that does damage in here.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're not taking crisis suits?
If we're not taking crisis suits,
broadsides?
we need probably broadsides. But, yeah, they're almost certainly the next best option.
Yeah, they are. The broadsides aren't even terrible. You take them on missile drones.
Yeah, they're not terrible. Okay, so it's some sort of firepower in here. So we're going to run... We could run 3 solo bands, but I honestly think you want just
a 3-man.
One unit that can just step out and
just like blow stuff up.
Do some big damage. Broadsides and their war gear. I don't have anything with war gear in here.
I see. Just type it normally.
Yeah. So what do we got here?
You're gonna have missile drones probably.
Missile drones.
And then plasma and.
Is it the plasma or?
Plasma or SMS is the question.
No, SMS is terrible.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Missile drones, plasma. Can we take the seeker missile, or is that instead of plasma?
I think it might. I think they share a bit for some reason.
Okay, so then we'll take the plasma, and then
No, you can. I think you can take a seeker and a plasma.
If we can, we'll take the seeker.
Yeah, I think you can do that now. They used to not be able to.
Go ahead and enter it in, and it'll tell you if there's an error.
Let me find. Hold on.
Okay, and they're 110 points each, so this is going to be a 330-point unit. Okay. We'll put this at 0 for now and fix it in a second. Okay, so 3 broadsides. That's solid anti-tank. It's got like a good amount of firepower. Shadow Sun actually buffs. You can take both?
Yeah.
Okay. Seeker missiles.
Let's put seekers.
All right. So, and then their weapon is the heavy rail. Heavy rail rifles.
That unit does actually shoot quite hard.
It does shoot quite hard. Its problem is that it can't get angles very easily because it's so slow. And if it comes in from reserve and your opponent has screens, it's just not going to shoot anything like too impactful. But in a firefight, it's quite strong. And it's relatively durable. Okay. Now let's move on to some other things. Piranhas. We need piranhas. Piranhas is going to be our other big damage dealer.
Oh, we're going to take like max piranhas?
I think so.
I kind of like max piranhas. My first Tau list I ran was max piranhas.
Yeah, we already have enough cheap stuff. We don't need them also being cheap stuff.
No.
Okay.
So we're going to take 9?
Yes. Let's go ahead and say 165. So we got seeker missiles. And we've got fusion. And
gun drones.
You can't switch them out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even going to put the free word here. All right. So what does that bring us to?
We have 1625 right now.
1625. Still, we got some points here. We got points to play with.
What if we added...
That's with counting the characters?
Yep, everything. What you see on the screen right now is 1625. What if we added 3 razor sharks?
3 razor sharks? I still don't like them. Because they come in and they die.
Yeah. That's the problem with all flyers.
The problem is you can screen them out too easily on good terrain.
Yeah, because they don't deep strike anymore. They come in from like the board edge.
But even still, like board edge is generally where you're going to get angles. You're just not getting it on good stuff, I think. So I'm not really a fan of them.
What do we add?
Okay. I think Ghost Keels, they obviously kind of overlap with what the Crude are doing, but they bring some amount of damage.
Do we want Tetras?
Yeah, let's get a unit of Tetras in here. I don't think we need a ton of them.
No.
Because the list isn't really doing that. And frankly, we don't really need the Firesight Marksman, so he's probably going to get cut in a second. But Tetras, 2 Tetras. That's going to be 80 points. So now we can actually make use of the Firesight team, but I honestly just take a Tetra.
Yeah, they're better. They're just way better.
They might not have Tetras, so if you don't have Tetras, then the Firesight team is fine. But the Tetra is just way better. So let's grab another Tetra unit.
For the 2 Tetras?
Yep.
All right.
Full rerolls to hit on our Piranhas is quite strong.
It really is.
All right, what are we looking at now?
So we are at 1715.
1715. What else is in the Tau Index? Let's get some Breachers and Devilfish.
Okay, that sounds good. Breachers.
115 for the Breacher squad. Is it still a good contest unit? And if you're not playing on terrain where you can hide Devilfish, then yeah, they're not great. Cut them. But even Breachers solo, coming in off a board edge, are not bad for picking something up. They just do it very expensively. But let's use them as more of our midfield piece.
Yeah, so we're at 1925 right now.
If we had the Devilfish as well.
Yeah, with the fish.
Devilfish. And that's even more Seeker Missile. We got tons of Seeker Missiles.
The Devilfish is 95.
Yeah, I'll change that in a second. And what's his other war gear option?
He's the burst cannon in the front and the gun drones.
Burst. Accelerator burst cannons. Okay. So how many points do we have left?
We have 75.
75. Let's get the third unit of Vespids. Let's just do it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's just do it.
Fits our theme.
Okay.
And that's 2,000 on the nose.
That's 2,000 on the nose. Okay, we have 4 real damage dealers. The Breachers can help out against certain targets as well. And that's like you will do damage here. We're obviously intending not to run the Crisis unit because this is a list that's not trying to this is probably a list you can just take to an RTT and do reasonable with, honestly, because the mission play is outstanding. But outside of that, you will struggle against indirect fire, and you'll struggle against armies that have a lot of really good targets, like an Eldar army. But guess what? Your regular Tau list is still going to struggle against Eldar anyway, so
who cares?
Yeah, doesn't matter there. And you get to run a bunch of Piranhas. There's a ton of Seeker Missiles in this. And the broadsides are a relatively durable thing that you can stick out in the late game. And
did you play during the time when you could like run like 95 piranhas and they'd all come back to life?
No, I did not play in 7th.
Yeah.
So I don't have that many piranhas. I have enough to run this max unit, but I don't have any more than that.
I think I own like 7 or 8.
Shadow Sun is obviously going to really help those piranhas. And then we got a couple units. The Tetras massively help. And then Breachers have the marker light keyword, so they can be your third. I'm going to help buff up my stuff with the marker lights. So overall, pretty solid. Like I said, 3 units of Vespid. They start in reserve. They can come down. They can go back up in your movement phase. So in turns 4 and 5, you can have enough Vespids to go do engage or behind enemy lines or teleport home or what, any of those secondaries. You got plenty of mission play. You should be doing really well in tactical, and you have enough kill power where you could potentially start the 9 piranhas on the board, pre-game move them, and then try and do some alpha striking with the Tetras as well because they can infiltrate. If you wanted to go and play a very aggressive early game Tau style, Crude Farstalkers, try and tie something up. Then you have Shadow Sun, the Piranhas, and I would cut the broadsides in that case for 2 Ghost Keels and play around with a couple of the points to fit that. And then just have those start aggressively, just jam them into your opponent and try and do crippling damage in the early game. You could play a style like that. But this is probably what I'd go for.
Yeah, probably.
If you really want to run as many auxiliaries as this. You don't need this much mission play, but we're doing it for the memes. Yeah. Okay. And like I said, this is not a bad list. Tau isn't the best faction, but they can play into all the mid-tier and below armies pretty easily, even with a suboptimal list.
And they can punch up into select lists in the top.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think this list would actually do reasonably well. This is going to be hard. You're going to have to outplay people. But that's just Tau, where they're at right now. All right, and then moving on to the third list, we've got the lovely Necrons. This is going to be Labration 7. Thank you so much for submitting this list. And we got Necrons here. So this is a 40 warrior build. That is what the concept is based around. And we're going to try and make it as strong as possible.
Double chrono.
So yeah, we're going to make some changes here. Okay, first thing with warriors is you have a Luminar Xeris here. He gives -1 to incoming AP, which matters against armies that are relatively mid AP because you have cover plus Luminar Xeris means you're still taking 4-ups. However, there's a lot of high AP armies towards the top of the meta, and if you're playing Necrons, you can get up there, and you're gonna have to punch, and try and beat them there. So obviously, Luminar Xeris helps the second unit of warriors because the first one can get Orican, who I think we put in here 100%. So one of these Chronomancers is straight up just becoming Orican, who is 80 points. And he is going to give out a 4-up invul to one of these units. And then, in my opinion, the Chronomancer is cool. -1 to hit is solid. It's not the best buff, and then you get to move 5 inches. That is also very helpful. But effectively, what's going to happen to these warriors is they're going to get jammed up in combat.
Yep.
That's just going to happen, and at that point, you can't use that rule. So I don't like that. So Technomancer instead. He is going to be... He is 70 points, I believe. Is he 75 or 70?
For Technomancer?
Yeah. Canoptic Cloak on there.
He's 60 for the Technomancer.
Oh, the Technomancer 60. I'm thinking of the Hexmark Destroyer.
Yeah.
Which we're going to add.
Is there... No, there's one in here already, right?
There's one in here. I'm probably going to add more than that. Okay,
right.
Plasmancer is just... No. He's
Yeah,
garbage.
He's
bad. He's better with Immortals, but he's just not...
He's not worth it.
Warriors are going to do no damage whatsoever. Okay? They are not there for damage. They're going to get jammed up in combat, but you're going to out-OC people on objectives.
Yeah, then I kind of want to... If we're running this many warriors, I kind of want a barge.
Yep. The command barge. We're going to fix these to Gauss Reapers as well.
Can we add one flare?
Because it's an assault weapon, and that's much more impactful.
Yeah.
So there is a real decision whether to add the barge or not. Because the barge gives you an aura of +1 OC, which is great. The barge loves this upgrade, the Sempiternal Weave, but it's just better on the Transcendent.
The Catan with Sempiternal.
So we have to be very careful with the barge because he can die. But I do think that we trade Illuminator Xeris out for
I think that's probably a better call.
Yep. Okay. And he is 150.
We're at 1895 right now.
Yep. We're definitely going to add the Veil onto this Technomancer. So, Veil of Darkness. And that's going to be a 20-point upgrade.
Yep, so we're at 1915.
Okay. All right. So, obviously, if you're not running the Transcendent, then add the Sempiternal Weave onto the Command Barge, and that makes him dramatically more durable. Okay. We don't have a key unit here. If you... Somehow. Maybe this was mistyped. There has to be a Ghost Arc in here if you're running Warriors.
Points, there's not the points for Ghost Arc.
There was not a point, so we're going to make points.
Let's
so.
add a Ghost Arc.
These 10 Warriors. So something has to start in a Ghost Arc for it to start.
10 Warriors, right?
It could be the 10 Warriors. 10 Warriors doesn't do anything, in my opinion. It's like a contest play, but at the same time...
Can you put like the Hex Mark in there?
You can start the Hex Mark in here, or we can get another one to start in there. But we'll be able to start something in there. We can start a Technomancer in there as well, if we grab another one. So, in my opinion, we have to run that. I'll leave these Warriors here for now. These Destroyers can get changed.
To what?
So, I'll go Stark.
I mean, we have 40 points over, right? We don't need to dramatically shift things, but we can do that.
All right, 125. But we have to have a Ghost Arc. It's so critical. It means that, and it's once per phase. It's just any phase that you take damage from an attack, you can go ahead and heal. Heal, and then you're stringing back to the Reanimator, so all of a sudden, boom, now it's going to be an extra D3 on that, and then you obviously have the Undying Legion strat, so you basically just always, if they can't kill a warrior unit, you just get it back to max pretty damn quickly.
John and I were talking earlier, you can get like 16 back every turn, or something, every phase.
Yeah. Okay, what don't we have here? Another
tool. I kind of want an Overlord.
We can get an Overlord on here so that the first unit that goes out, if they find a way to hurt the second one, they can you can go ahead and reanimate with both of them using the stratagem. However, it's not that mandatory when you have the Ghost Arc to run the Overlord here, since we already have the Res Orb on the Command Barge. Which let me put that on there. We're going to be stringing back to him anyway for the OC benefit. We're going to get that. Yeah. But I think one unit having a Lord is totally reasonable.
A Lord or an Overlord?
An Overlord. So that we get the free Undying Legion strat and can use it twice. Okay.
So that gives us 10 points left to spare if we add the Overlord.
Okay. So we'll get the Overlord on here. Overlord. And he's going to be 85 points. And he's going to open up a slot for us to take the Hyper Material Ablator. Okay.
So we are 15 points over.
He goes to 110, I believe. And he's going to have a Res Orb as well. So.
Do we want another arrow? I guess we don't want it if the...
No, it's either the Res Orb or the Tachyon arrow.
I'm saying, yeah, because we already have the Barge, though. But if the Barge dies, we want the Res Orb. So the Tachyon arrow never does anything.
Yeah.
So
but you can only pick one unit, so now we can pick both if we need to. All right, but we get the -1, the stealth and cover if they're more than 12 away. So we're one warrior unit is really tanky as we need it to be. All right, 3 heavy locust destroyers. So there's no doomsday arcs here, and it's really hard to fit the points to get them, but we can think about trying to squeeze a couple in here.
What would we cut for them?
So the 10 warriors is something that we can definitely cut. We can start.
I'm not going to cut those now.
I don't really think that they're providing enough.
10 warriors is way too easy to kill, too.
Exactly. Now, they could be... If you want to run them, it's probably multiple Ghost Arcs with multiple 10-mans. It's hard to hide that many Ghost Arcs, frankly.
And they're clunky, and they're not that fast. They're hard to get around, right?
Yep. All right. And then the Locust Heavy Destroyers, I just like Doomsday Arcs better. I like the durability of them. So let's see. If we cut the Warriors and this, we're probably going to have to cut like Scarabs or something.
Yeah. So we can easily fit 1 in. Fitting 2 is hard, but not impossible.
Okay. Doomsday Arc. So 185. All right. What are we looking at?
So if we had 2 Doomsday Arcs, we're at... How many did you add?
I added 1.
So 1 leaves us at... hold on. No, that's not what I want. There we go. 1945.
1945. So
is 1 DDA.
Getting a second is tough.
Yeah.
We would have to cut the Overlord, who might honestly not be
worth it.
I'd
rather have the DDA.
Okay, cut. All right, so we still need to cut the other Scarab unit to fit it.
I think so, yeah. Because we have. I need to cut, not duplicate.
We can cut Tomb Blades, one of the Tomb Blade squads as well.
So we're at 2020 with 2 DDAs and no Overlord.
2 DDAs and no Overlord.
Yeah. That is, how many points are Death Mark? 65?
Cut one of the Tomb Blade units.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do we have here?
We're at 1940.
1940.
So like a 60-point unit we can add?
We can add a Technomancer, who is a lone op, and he could start in the Ghost Arc as well. He can also heal the vehicles.
That's 2,000 on the nose.
Okay, Technomancer. It's going to be 60 points. Okay. And this is exactly 2,000. However, as cool as Scarabs are, I honestly think you get the 3rd unit of Crypto Thralls, which is a 1-to-1 trade. These guys have been invaluable in multiple games that I've played, of just deep striking them in. They require like a dramatic overcommitment.
We just saw that game where like you patted my backfield and I was like, I can't kill 2 Crypto Thralls.
Especially in the late game, because turn 3, you just drop them in there. They can do an action or whatever, or they can go try and charge onto an objective, which I did against John. He had Sisters of Silence in the Custodes game. I made the charge that turn, happened to, killed enough Sisters of Silence, took the objective away, and they just sat there controlling.
They never lose the like trash fight, right? They beat up all the other trash.
Exactly. All right, I quite like this list.
Yes, this is
I think this is one of the strongest ways to play 40 Warrior build.
It's very similar to what Liam Hackett just took WTC.
Oh yeah. What did what was his exact?
He had some like weird characters, but it was basically this.
Okay, did he have Luminar Xeris?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Luminar Xeris is solid. I just don't think he's worth 220.
He's not. If he was like 200.
However, if you're putting Necrons in a team environment into armies where you don't need the Doomsday Arcs for the anti-tank, you can get a Luminar and just have more stuff as well.
I think that's what he did.
Or you could double up on Ghost Arcs, have more redundancy there. But I think this is kind of the core I would probably run in singles.
I agree. I like this list a lot.
Yeah, I think this is a very solid list. And then some armies just cannot deal with the Warriors. We saw the game I played against Nick's Chaos Demons. He just couldn't kill the Warriors. There's nothing in his army that can delete a Warrior unit. And so they were just always back, always OCing the objectives. And he couldn't score primary in the middle of the table. And so that is just very strong. The command barge isn't needed, but it just ramps that up even further because it means like 3 models in the objective, 9 OC. You're like, oh god, I have to put a lot on there to even hope to contest it. And if I kill any of these models, more reanimates onto it, and it's just a nightmare.
The worst part is you can't chip Necron units because they all come back and they get extra movement for your troubles.
Your one concern is doing enough damage in singles, and that's where I think the Doomsday Arcs really help. But at least you can kind of layer the Warriors so that they just get jammed up by the first unit. You have to use your first unit to tie up as many of their units as possible so that your second unit can actually do stuff.
Yeah.
But really happy with these lists, honestly. Pretty different than the ones we've done. Some Xenos before in the past. We've done Necron Tau lists, Yunari lists, but these ones are different.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, the people who submitted these lists enjoy them.
Yep.
But if you like this type of content, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you thought of the list in the comments below. Are you playing stuff that's similar? Would you have made different changes? Let us know what you're feeling. And, overall, please just tell your friends about the channel. We do this every single week, like I said. And if you want to be submitting your list in the future, go ahead and click the description below, the warroom.vhx.tv, where you can sign up for a 3-day free trial of our subscription, where you can get access to our Discord community and start submitting lists and join in all the awesome things that we do in there. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate you. And then coming up Friday is going to be Build a List with Space Wolves,
yes.
which is going to be played the following week. So if you have been kind of yearning for some Space Wolf action, we're going to be putting them on the table. All right. Thanks, everybody. Right. Really appreciate your support. Hope you enjoyed the list, and we'll see you very soon for some more. So long.